Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of the creditrepairshop.com. And in today's video, we're going to talk about an article that I came across with USA Facts. And in this article, it talks about the alarming rate of complaints against Transunion, Equifax, and Experian, and Transunion, Equifax, Experian credit reporting agencies. And these complaints were logged with the CFPB. And I'm going to tell you exactly what the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, said. And I'm going to talk about it from what they said with dealing with these credit reporting agencies. And I'm going to also talk about it from what they said with dealing with credit repair companies. So I need you to please like this video. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that. And hit the notification bell. In this article, also, I'm going to talk about some things on why you do not need to be waiting around to repair your credit. You do not need to be waiting around to repair your credit. I'm going to give you some good reasons on why you don't need to be doing that. But first, let's just talk about what I found in this article. And again, it was from USA Facts. These facts are undisputed. It said that in 2023, consumers filed over 961,570 complaints against the credit reporting agencies Equifax, Transunion, and Experian with the CFPB. So that's not counting what was done through credit repair companies. This was just with the CFPB. So now you would think that if the CFPB is on it, you're like in good hands. You're in good hands. And real quick before I do that, someone was asking, why do I, move my hands a lot and do this stuff? And I related to when I was going back looking through my videos, and I was like, what is the feeling that I get when I do this for you? It's like I'm bringing you in to me and saying like, hey, please pay attention to what I'm telling you, because this is coming from the heart. It's like if you were one of my children, if you were one of my good friends, business associates, someone who is asking for advice. I bring you in because this is the stuff that I feel and I need to help people with. It's more than just a business for me. So that's why I'm animated with this. So now, people made that many complaints in 2023 with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Now, let me tell you the end result of what happened with that. Now, you can scan online to see it's like people complain about the CFPB. So they went to the CFPB to complain about things that were on their credit reports. And then they ended up saying that they want to complain that the CFPB didn't do what they were supposed to do. But you can't complain to the CFPB because CFPB is like the end all. So if whatever you were trying to do didn't work there, most people quit. And I'm going to get into why you shouldn't quit. I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't quit. Because I've seen some people that have watched my videos and they posted comments and they said, well, I did some stuff with the CFPB and it didn't work and I just give up on my credit. And I guess now they're just watching videos just to feel good, which YouTube did state that people watch YouTube for instruction on how to, for also unwinding. It had some other reasons, but the one that caught my attention was to unwind, as a stress reliever. So I think some of the people might watch my video as a stress reliever because they just imagine the solution, but they never want to take action. But I know that you're not in that boat there. So now it says, why are complaints against credit agencies increasing? CFPB released an annual report detailing deficiencies in the credit-related agencies generating consumer complaints. Some reports emphasize the lack of substantive responses by complaints filed by the CFPB. So what they're saying is the complaints filed by the CFPB, when it went to the credit reporting agencies, they didn't do nothing about it. They didn't do anything about it. And then what the CFPB did is they just said, well, we're going to make this report. Because what are you going to do? $1 billion company, what are you going to do? Fine them $100 million? They make, they're like, this is the way they be thinking. When it's the big companies, big corporations, they made 100 billion. Hold on. Let's just look at this. I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to tell you how much these companies made so I can share with you their thought process. Okay, are you ready for this? So I did my little research because I want to give you some accurate numbers. In 2023, this is the earnings of Transunion, $3.83 billion. $3.83 billion. Equifax, $5.65 billion. They had an 11% increase over the previous year. Transunion had a 3%. They're the lowest of them. And Experian, $6.62 billion in revenue. So if you get sued by the CFPB, these three credit reporting agencies get sued by the CFPB for not processing disputes by consumers, not processing disputes by the CFPB. What is the biggest fine that they've ever levied against a credit reporting agency? I'm going to get that for you for a second. All right. For Consumer Financial Protection settlement for data breach in 2017, this is a data breach. Data breach that's going to be a higher number, but I couldn't find anything for them specifically for not processing disputes for people. But it says here that they did a fine of $575 million, but it is not an actual fine of $575 million. A lot of it was in services that they would give to people. The actual money fine that they had was $100 million. $100 million. So we're talking about in the billions to the million. That's like making your car payment. For us, that's like making a car payment. $100 million to a corporation that's making billions of dollars is like making a car payment one time. The highest one for Transunion Equifax, $5.5 million for misleading consumers for the cost of their credit scores. $5.5 million, that was combined. So if you split that down the middle, they both together paid $5.5 million. So a little under $3 million each. And they made billions of dollars. Now, another thing that I found on the CFPB website. So now it says, CFPB releases report detailing consumer complaints response deficiencies of the big three credit bureaus. They always flip back and forth. Agency bureau. So it says here, an analysis by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau reveals how changes in complaint responses provided by national consumer reporting companies, now they're companies, resulted in fewer meaningful responses and less consumer relief. And it says here, Equifax, Experian, and Transunion together reported relief in the response to less than 2%. Less than 2%. And these are only the complaints. Now, just so you understand, the CFPB does not register the complaints that come from credit repair companies. They only register the complaints that came from the CFPB. If the CFPB is the whole, like, over all of this stuff, and they only got 2% result, 2% result, need I say more? Before I get into the other part, I want to talk about a little piece of the article that they stated right here, because I'm always 100% transparent with what I do, and I don't have you do anything that I would not do for me or my family member or anyone that I care and love, because I want you to have that same treatment. So I want to also put in this, tell you what's in the story too. It talks about credit repair services companies that tell people stuff that they really can't do, or have people do stuff that is illegal. Number one, we tell people up front that it takes work. If the CFPB, who is over everybody, who has federal government funding, who can go and sue any company, corporation, they have the resources to do it, can only get a 2% result. And the reason why it's a 2% result, because you can only do it one time. So if they don't respond to the CFPB and they give some BS answer and the CFPB takes it and say, hey, this is what they said, that's why people give up. That's why people give up. They just be like, I ain't doing it. It ain't going to work. If the CFPB can't do it, nobody can do it. And that's not true. Legitimate credit repair companies can do the work, but not promising stuff that we can't deliver on. When people talk to our company, we say we can't promise you anything other than hard work. And if you believe that information should not be on your credit reports after a review, and that is not accurately showing what happened with that account, the balance, duplicate account, unfair nature of that account, against your character, that is in the Fair Credit Reporting Act states about character, information that is showing that is out of character to you from your own opinion. Who knows? You know yourself, not them. They are a company that is collecting information about all of us, and they're putting it into data, and they're putting that out about us, negative or positive information, and you have a right to make sure it shows the way that you believe it should show. And if something is negative and you don't believe that it's showing accurately about you, you have a right to have that information removed. That's the law. So it speaks in here, and it says that fraud and scamming complaints moved up with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau to over 5,493 complaints against credit repair services, because these companies promised something that they could not deliver, or they had people write false ID theft complaints against accounts that were theirs. Credit repair is not about doing something to get something removed because of fraud. It is about making sure that it's being reported the way it should be reported on your credit reports. And once you get it in that condition, then you do things to move your credit up. So now I want to talk about some stuff that I've seen comments that people make on some of my videos. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because people are very impressionable when they're going through hard times. They could do things and start to believe a certain way when just because they're going through a hard time, they're just, more susceptible to understanding stuff the wrong way. So I had a person that said, I'll just wait 7 years and not do nothing. And I was thinking to myself, okay, 7 years. Let's just break that down. 7 years of your life is 2,555 days of your life of doing nothing and waiting. 12 months, 52 weeks in a year, and 8,760 hours a year of doing nothing. So if you times that, 365 days times 24 hours times 7 years, you're talking about wasting 61,320 hours of your life to do nothing. And now let's talk about something else. Another YouTube subscriber just put a comment and they said, in Florida, they allowed them to just drain my whole bank account. A debt collector. A debt collector can't drain your bank account unless these circumstances line up for them. So there is no bank account that can be drained without these things happening. Step number 1, debt collector buys your debt. Step number 2, debt collector sends a letter to you or to an address that you were at asking, what are you going to do about this debt? Number 3, take you to court and sue you about that debt. Number 4, you don't do anything to fight or resist anything about that debt in court. You just, maybe you show up, maybe you don't. You get a default judgment. Number 5, they go back into court and they try to either get a garnishment of your check or garnishment of your bank account, which is what happened right there. But if you're just running for 7 years, you open the floodgate for a lot of that stuff to happen. And I say this all the time. You don't decide when something bad is going to happen because of what you're not taking care of with your credit. You don't get to decide that day. You do not get to decide that day. So this individual had their bank account drained, and they feel like there's nothing that they can do. There's something you could do, but for the purposes of this video, we're just talking about avoiding getting into that situation. There's going to come a day that your credit is going to help you with your new relationship, or it's going to help you with the relationship that you're in. There's going to come a day that you're going to need to get a car. You're going to need to want to move to a better neighborhood. Maybe you even want to buy a house, and your credit is going to be needed in that situation. There's going to come a day that maybe your child is going to need help. I just had a woman come to my office last week. She needed to get her credit taken care of so she could get a loan next year for her daughter in school. They won't just let her daughter sign for it. She has to sign for it. But if her credit is where it's at, she can't sign for it. Job promotions. They do look at your credit for job promotions. And some of the companies are looking at your credit to see how they can trust you with the way you handle your own money with them handling their business. So what I need you to do right now is I need you to write down what you want in your life. Because money and credit and all of that is not the most important thing once you deal with it and you have it under control. No, life becomes more important. Because when you don't have to worry about what's going to happen with your credit, you don't have to worry about if you're going to get approved. When you don't have to worry about those things, money and credit, they go down because you get to live. But if you're constantly worried about, I can't move to this neighborhood, I can't get a car at a decent rate, all of my money goes towards the payment. I can't even get car insurance because when they ran my credit, I don't qualify for this. I got to go to one of these offshoot companies that pay more. I can't even get a credit card at a decent rate because they're going to charge me more because of my credit. You get the credit in order. When your credit is in order, you pay less for the same things that people with bad credit. When your credit is in order, you pay less for the same things that people pay more for with bad credit. People with bad credit pay more for the same thing that people with good credit pay less for. When you pay less for things, you have more money in your pocket. Wouldn't you agree? So with your list, take out your piece of paper, with your list of what you write down of what you want in your life. Name any of the things that you want in your life that won't have something to do with you having good credit. Or if you don't, do this. This is what I want for me and my family. Or if you're by yourself, what you want for yourself. And then you write down of all of those things, what would good credit do to enhance that? And then on the other column, why don't you put, if I don't have good credit, will I be able to get that? So you can determine if you even want to go through the process of having good credit. Good credit is going to allow you to have more choices in your life. It's going to allow you to have doors open that you didn't even think could be open. And that door is going to open when you didn't expect it to be able to be open. See, you're thinking about what you have now. And you're thinking about what everybody else is telling you. Be a leader for yourself. If you can't lead other people, you lead yourself first, and then you become a good leader of yourself, and then you will be a leader of other people. So just like I said, if we're going to have 7 years of not doing nothing, and that 7 years means that if you don't do nothing bad on your credit, because you could be signing up for another 7 years. Because again, when you have bad credit, you're going to be paying more. So that's going to make your finances a little bit more difficult for you to be able to manage on a day-to-day basis, month-to-month basis, year-to-year basis. So I think that with that 365 days a year, 12 months in a year, 52 weeks in a year, 8,760 hours in a year, and over 61,000 over 7 years. If this time is going to pass, wouldn't it be beneficial to us to do something with that time that's going to benefit us, not to just sit there? Like, imagine a person sitting there, they come to their mind, in their own mind, I'm going to not do nothing and wait for 7 years. People actually make that comment. I've had them here on YouTube. I've had people make those comments on Facebook. I had people make those comments on TikTok. You give up 7 years of your life. You can't go by, when your credit, let's just say you had one thing, you don't do nothing for 7 years, and you get by and don't even have no lawsuits or nothing. And then 7 years later, you can't go back and buy the 7 years that you just wasted. You can't just go, oh, I want to get a refund on those 7 years, because if I could have just taken care of that in year one. Let's just say that it was just something that was going to take a full year. We got 1 year compared to 7 years. Let's just say it takes 2 years to get it taken care of. We got 2 years versus 7 years. Let's say it takes 3 years. My situation took me from 1994 to 1999. What, 1994, 95, 96, 97, 98, 5 years over 7 years. And the thing about it, when I was finished with it in 1999, everything took off, but in between there, stuff had already started getting better. My mindset had gotten better. My creativity for running my business got better. My creativity for dealing with my family and keeping the family together. Everything got better within that time. If you do nothing in 7 years, guess what's going to be on your mind? Everything gets worse. So if you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch and read and see what we offer. Everything is plainly said right there. Link is below this video. You can see the people that we've helped. Testimonials, copies of deletions, all of that stuff. It's on there for you to see. Your situation is unique, but we're going to bring you in and we're going to work with you, in whatever amount of time it takes, we get the job done. You're going to be in a better place. We do that work, you do the work on yourself, because you still got to change your mindset to not be a person who wants to live with bad credit, not to be a person who would consider staying on the sideline for 7 years of your valuable life to not do something about your credit when we live in a credit society. If you need your credit reports and scores, go to the website your3scores.com to grab your Transunion, Equifax, Experian credit reports and all 3 scores. If you have debt collectors coming after you, grab my 3-pack of letters, because that person who had their money drained in Florida started with a debt collection letter. Grab my 3-pack of letters: statute of limitations letter, debt validation letter, cease and desist collection activities letter. Use the one that's appropriate for you. And I do ask for a donation on those, because those letters right there that I created can help save you time, money, frustration with dealing with debt collectors. Thank you for your time. Subscribe to the channel. Post your questions and comments. This is Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of thecreditrepairshop.com.